Hi Aryan, thank you for accepting the invite, and it's great to have you here. Uh, it would be amazing if you could introduce yourself and just tell us about your background and just talk about you.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you, Akshet, for inviting me here. And it's good to share my thoughts and introduce myself. And thank you for this opportunity. So, hi guys, you already know my name, but I am Aryan Jagushte. I am from India. I have done my bachelor's of robotics engineering from Dr. D.Y. Patel Institute of Technology, and I am a pass out from 2024 itself, the batch 2024. And currently, I'm working as a robotics software engineer at a startup. So that was a short intro about me.
Okay, that's great. So you studied robotics and you're working as a robotics engineer. How did this all begin? What did you do before engineering, and how was your journey like?
Right. So actually, my journey was a little bit a kind of filmy type because I got yeah, really, because I got inspired from the movie Iron Man. I think many of us are
Hmm.
inspired by the same.
True.
But in my childhood itself, I will go a little back. But in my childhood days, my siblings were discussing about their career. Like someone wants to become scientist, actor, and many more things as general kid talk about
Hmm.
by watching movies or else by hearing from elder people. So from there I clicked like I should do engineering, like playing with the motors, playing with the toys, taking out the electric motor from that and running it using a cell or battery. So that was about my stuff, but still I was not able to figure out really I what I want to do. Then I was just like exploring new things, playing here and there, and then finally I watched the movie Iron Man and figured out the term robotics. So I should do robotics. I
Okay.
don't know like where the word robotics came from, but just I think so I randomly googled that term, and then I asked to my I think so aunt like should I do robotics engineering? Then she said like there is no specialization as robotics in
Hmm.
India for now. Then I like figured out like the Iron Man, Tony Stark, the character, he is mechanical engineering by default. So I should do mechanical engineering, and then I will do the robotics one. So likewise, I was pushing my days in school days, and
Hmm.
finally in India we have here like a joint entrance examination, JEE, and then also some state examinations. So I wanted to do engineering, so my parents sent me to one of the institutions. So I was not really a studious person, so that I will score good marks in the exam and
Okay.
get a higher rank college. The same happened after 12th standard as well. I was not able to crack that examination because I was not consistent enough in the study part.
Okay.
So then like I was a little bit disappointed, like how will I get into robotics now, because the only aim was robotics. But luckily not luckily really, but I think that is a part of a luck, I think so. But at the pandemic, the corona pandemic, I got 1 year to explore and experiment as well. So at that time I figured out like I should also do the farming part. I don't know why, but I got into the soilless farming part. 1 second. Sorry.
Okay.
I will repeat on that. So, like in the Corona pandemic, I like selected the soilless farming part, the hydroponic farming. So there, I continuously worked upon that, and after that, I made that as a backup that I will do my own business, like by doing the hydroponics one. But like still the admission part was remaining because of the pandemic. The overall admissions in at the institutions or the universities were pending.
Hmm.
So I searched for the colleges. So one of the colleges was launching their robotics program at that time.
Okay.
So I took that chance because I also researched on that college, like is that college good or not. So it was good. Like here comes the point of selection of the colleges. So anyone who want to get into a college, not only see the NIRF ranking or else the placement part, but also try to get the part of the faculties, how the college supports you, and also what are the opportunities there, like the college activities, college clubs, how is the crowd there, and all those things. So if you search on that, you will definitely get it. So I researched on that, and I also got the scholarship there.
Okay,
So it was a win-win situation for me.
that's amazing.
So I took, yeah, exactly. And I finally got into robotics likewise. Like I selected the automation and robotics as a specialization there.
Okay, okay, I understand. Thank you for sharing the entire journey. So, did you do a mechanical engineering degree?
No, no, no. The mechanical engineering option was there, but I selected automation and robotics, the specialization itself. And
Okay.
I'm the first pass out like batch from that college.
Oh, okay. So, how was your experience studying robotics for the first time from the university? It's like, an experiment, a test. It's a pilot program. So, what was your experience like? How did you learn?
Talking about the the college experiment part, or else I was the first batch from that particular institute. So it's a risk actually, because there is no record or history of the particular branch that you are taking admission into. So let's take an example of a CS branch, which is very popular, right? Computer science or information technology, or is electronics, mechanical as well.
Yeah.
So these are stable branches, and not only about the job part, but also the demand and supply. Like I am taking into automation and robotics, and if for example there are no jobs available after my graduation, then what will happen? So all these questions are like that we should be aware of before taking admission into any
Hmm.
branch. I also studied that part, but talking about the risk part, it was a risk for me, but my thing was like, if I want to do engineering, my first goal was to get into robotics. So I just kept that in my mind that I want to do robotics. If I take it into electronics, then that is also one part of a risk, because I, at the end of the day, I'm going to get a job because of my skills. So that's why I took into robotics, and I think it was 70% risk and 30% not, because as it is a new branch, the institute will promote it. Like it will push students forward to work upon their skills, and that one particular my assumption part got true, because the faculties or else professors at the institute really supported me, or else all the students, I should say that, on the skills part, they were saying that work upon your skills, also focus on the academics, but also focus upon your skills, because that's a hack, that if you are doing good at your academics and also doing some extra work, not for the faculties but for yourself, for your skills part, then the professors will ultimately support you. So
Yeah, that
that's
is
the
true.
thing at my institute. Yeah, exactly. It might be the thing for many universities. So
Yeah.
that formula I applied, and yeah, that was good actually.
Okay. Okay, that's glad to hear. I'm glad to hear that it all worked out well for you because, as you
Hmm.
said, it's a risk. Because
Yeah.
I personally, when I joined my university started in 2011, and I joined in
Okay.
2018. So I think only four batches had passed in the entire university.
Okay.
So that was a bigger risk that I took. But as you mentioned, since it was a new branch, people were
Hmm.
supportive, the students were
Right.
enthusiastic, and there was a lot of support from the teachers' side, especially for
Right.
exploring other options like
Hmm.
internships abroad, funded internships. So
Hmm.
we were given a lot of opportunities from our university.
Okay.
So it
That is
I
actually
can relate.
great.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But so that's the reason I was able to pursue international internships while at university. While some of
Okay, so
my
you
friends,
got Yeah, sorry to
No
interrupt you, but
problem.
you got the internships at the institute itself, like
Yeah.
the international internships.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we were informed about all these internships from our university's international collaborations department, and they used to send out emails and make us aware that such things exist and we should consider applying. And
Mm,
now it's more prominent and people are applying more and more. But back then, like nobody knew. I had a lot of
right.
friends at Mumbai University, where I'm from, and like mostly nobody knew about those opportunities. So I think
Mm,
the risk factor also has a silver lining, which is all of this. It tries to promote and
exactly.
keep up with what's happening in the world. So
Right.
that's really good to know.
Right.
And
That's true actually.
yeah. And how what kind of projects did you work on while you were at university? Did you do anything extra or co-curricular?
Okay. Yeah. So first of all, when I got into the university, the first 1.5 years were online because of the
Mm.
pandemic, and then the other 2.5 years were offline. So it was a kind of mixed situation.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did is that, like, in the beginning I got into the first year itself, so it was online and I was getting maximum time utilization at that particular scenario.
Okay.
So I focused on the technical part first, like, uh, first of all exploring the things, like I was getting into like how to get into robotics. And firstly my initiative was how to get into college clubs, the technical clubs.
Mm-hmm.
Like the robotics club at our institute is good in building some cool stuff and participating in the competitions like robocon or else some things. So someone who is starting into robotics or else into engineering journey, the first motive should be to explore new things, because unless and until we don't explore, we are not able to get that particular skill set. Like for example, if we want top 5 skills of which suits ourselves, so we should first of all try out 100 things, so then we
Yeah.
will get those 5 things.
Yeah.
So in my first year itself I tried out to get into the college clubs, both technical and non-technical. And yeah, I got into the robotics club. And then after that I studied about programming, then electronics, then also designing, then also animation, 3D modeling, all those things. Then I figured out like 3D modeling is not for me, electronics is not for me, but I'm somewhat good at programming. Like I was not doing any extraordinary thing in programming, but it is good. Like I built some OpenCV basic projects, like how to detect human face and all those things. And also simultaneously, I was working as a freelancer by doing video editing and graphic designing, social media marketing, all those things. So that was the non-technical part of me. And back then I started my YouTube channel. Like currently also I have my YouTube channel, but that is a new one. Back then I was having my YouTube channel which was on the freelancing part. So that gave me a chance to improve my communication skills and also the video editing skills and some little things about marketing. I'm not good at marketing, but the basics of marketing,
Okay.
how to communicate and all those things. So combining those non-technical and technical skills, I got into the offline mode after 1.5 years. Then I figured out like I should work upon my technical skills more, because I am really like lacking behind on the technical part. One thing I like forget previously to mention about the institution, like the risk part, because we were the first batch to pass out. We were not having the like trained professors and all for the robotics, especially for robotics,
Mm.
because here in India the like big robotics companies are like very limited,
Yeah.
and we have startups here who are currently getting out and hiring fresh graduates. So that was one thing. So we were not getting exposure at the institute level, more exposure, but we have to work upon ourselves. So that was a good part, but some students struggle on that part because everyone don't want to like focus upon themselves and explore on their own. some people also need assistance on that part, like internships and all those things. uh, I will come on the internship part, but on the projects part, my first project was about the very simple project. It's really basic, but it was distance measurement using ultrasonic sensor. And then in my third year, we worked with one MNC company. Like, they were facing one problem. So because actually I won one like I won one presentation competition at my institute. So because of that, my professor approached me like, you should visit the company and like figure out the problem what they are facing. So we got one problem statement. Like, they were having one bigger diameter pipeline, and they needed one robot which should navigate inside the pipeline and grind the internal, like, for example, the pipeline is welded from outside, so there will be one bulk from the inside of the pipeline, so we have to remove that welded part
Okay.
by sending the robot inside. So that was the problem statement we got in our third year. So we started working upon that project, and first of all, we failed at that. Like, I got a chance to build a team, and then back then I failed to get a solution. But again, in my fourth year, we took that particular problem statement to work upon the final project. So that was my final project. But in this particular timeline, one thing was about the robot operating system part. Like, it is not the really good for software engineering, but it was booming back then. Actually, I heard about ROS like by discussing with one of my friends from BITS Goa. So he was into BITS college, and I attended one of the online seminar from BITS, where I got to know about ROS. So it was good, uh, like, to explore about ROS and all those things. And at that time, I was not having my own laptop in my second year, so I didn't got to work upon hands-on. Then in the like third year, I got my laptop, and then I installed the robot operating system, and I worked upon that. So that really fascinated me, and I decided to go further into it, like how it works, and how, like, not only the tool part of ROS, but what is really the architecture part, like how to code in ROS, what is the simulation part, how to get our robot there, and how to navigate our robot autonomously, and all those things. And I read some books, and also purchased some Udemy course. And yeah, likewise my ROS journey began. I also built some simulation projects, and this is one project I'm currently working upon, the like
What is
ROS
this?
part.
Can you tell more about it? What are you doing?
Okay, so like, actually, this robot is inspired from the Turtlebot 3 robot, which is open source robot for autonomous navigation part. So I'm trying to do the same thing, like doing the autonomous navigation part, but at cheaper rates, because the Turtlebot 3 is very costly. So I'm trying to build a miniature version of that, which will be affordable for the students. And also, I'm trying to use Arduino there, and trying to make the code more simple, because uh, I have faced the same problem that the nodes in ROS or the launch files and all those things are really complicated. So I'm trying to make the code part simple as possible, by keeping the efficiency at the same level, or else reducing the efficiency, but it will run autonomously. So, but my main aim is to simplify as much as possible, so that it will be understood by the beginners. That's my aim.
Okay.
So this is one project. Yeah.
How will you do the processing on it? Because Arduino is a microcontroller,
Yeah.
and how will you establish autonomous capabilities to this robot?
Yeah, so Arduino is for the motor controlling part, and for the processing part, I'm using a Raspberry Pi
Okay.
4B, and for the like sensor part, I'm using LiDAR,
Okay.
RP LiDAR Evaluate. Yeah,
Okay. Okay. But aren't Rig Beetle Labs doing some similar things, and they also have a tortoise bot which is like way cheaper than the turtle bot? So what's your
right.
aim?
Yeah, actually, my robot is also inspired by Rigbital Labs as well, because they have built one robot which is a kind of similar itself. but I'm also doing the same one, but I am trying to reduce the complexity as much as possible. And I think they are not using Arduino, so my like I don't know why I'm using Arduino, but I think like Arduino is like ready to use for any student, so I will keep the Arduino as it is.
Okay, I understand. I respect that perspective, but at the same time, I also want to add that why are we trying to reduce the complexity for students? Why not teach them the complex
Mm,
stuffs? Simplify the complex stuffs and
simplifying,
teach them that.
right,
So
right.
if we try to feed somebody like very simple things, when they graduate and then go on to doing different things, they will not have that base.
Right,
I speak from
right.
experience. We were not taught all of these
Yeah.
advanced concepts in ROS or just programming in general. I come from a mechatronics background. We were not taught
Mm,
data structures algorithms. I had to learn all of it
right.
all by myself. So if there was someone to tell me that this is what you would need in the real life to function as a robotic software engineer, then I would have studied it no matter what. So
Right.
I would suggest and recommend that you are doing some noble thing. It's great to try to reduce the complexity of something, but then at the same
Yeah.
time we are missing the purpose here. We want to educate the students to build something by themselves, but
Mm,
why do we need to simplify it? If we
right.
simplify it, then they might miss out learning concepts. So what do you think
Yeah.
about that? What's your take on
Yeah, actually, I think the perspective that you shared about the complexity, like reducing the complexity to more simple, can be also not as challenging as we think. I agree to that because, for example, I felt the turtle bot or else any code complex. So I try to understand that code, and now I know like how it works. So if now, for example, if I simplify that code and put it on my GitHub repo and share it with all the students, so it will be good for them to work on the initial days. It's good to understand the concept, but it will not challenge their limits.
it?
So that is a part I think, because I got to learn from the complexity version and then I reduced it by understanding it. But they will understand it easily, and they will not challenge themselves to understand the complexity part. So I think I should put one more part of this particular robot where I will try to explain those complexities there. So that
Yeah,
might help. Yeah.
that might definitely help. So yeah, okay, that is a better idea, to have a
Right.
simplified version and to have a complex version of the same thing.
Mm,
Yeah, it could be a good idea.
right.
A lot of
Yeah.
people are doing this. So are you going to make it open sourced?
Yeah, definitely. I will make it open source.
That's great. Do let me know when you do that.
Sure.
Yeah.
And also I will tag those like Turtlebot 3 and also Tortoisebot 3 there, because it is inspired by them. So
Yeah, yeah,
it's not
absolutely.
only my work. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. How do you study all these concepts? What do you refer mostly? And you have your own YouTube channel where you explain ROS and ROS2. So how do you
Mm,
learn so that you can explain? Because to be able to explain something, you can only do that when you understand it fully. So how do you
right.
ensure that you understand it?
Hmm, got it. So, as I mentioned previously, in my second year, I got introduced about ROS, but then I tried to like read some books. Uh, I directly jumped on the books part, but like at that time, I was not aware of ROS, like how to get started with it. It is a problem for every beginner, like where to start from.
Hmm.
So I got some books online, which were free of cost, of course. And then by reading those books, I really didn't understand anything. Like, what is happening? Yeah. But then again, in my college robotics club, they said me to learn ROS. So we purchased a course by doing some contribution on Udemy. The course is by Annie Scuba on
Yeah.
ROS 1. So I again went through the course. I got to know about some concepts like nodes, topics, messages, but those were really theoretical. I was not able to do that practically. Like, what are really nodes? 1 minute. Sorry. So, what are really nodes? So that was not clear to me from the depth of the point, because node is a like a program or else something like that. I got to know now, but at that time I was knowing only like node can go through the topic and it sends some signals. But what signals? How to build a node? That was not clear.
Right.
Like there is one diagram like the node is passing through the topic, and then it is publishing some messages, then the subscriber receives. Okay, that is good at the theory point, but how it is really going to happen? So that was not clear to me. Then after the course as well, I was not confident on the ROS part. So I again got one book. I'm not able to recall the name. uh, I think so it is but that's a really great book. I actually got my basics clear from that particular book. It was on ROS1. And then after doing that, I installed the ROS1 and worked upon those exercises and how to build the nodes in ROS1 and all those things. And then in my fourth year itself, I again purchased one course by Annie Scuba on the navigation part. Then I
Okay.
studied the navigation part on the ROS1 and all those things, and built some simulation part on the ROS1 by making some my own packages itself and my own nodes. So that was one of my projects on ROS1 simulation. I didn't jump to the hardware part because at that time I was not very aware about the hardware part, like how to build the ROS part on hardware, and also the hardware is really costly. So I didn't go on that side.
Okay.
And in my fourth year, I learned about the ROS2 part from the official documentation, and then also I purchased the master no no the mentorship program by Patel Labs to study about ROS2, where
Okay.
I got to know about ROS2 as well. But the plus point for me was that I was previously knowing about ROS1, so it was not hard for me to get into ROS2. So I studied about that in the mentorship program, and then directly jump onto the hardware part as well. And again, like the one point here is that the ROS documentation is really important.
Yeah.
If anyone want to learn about ROS, the documentation is enough. You don't have to go for the multiple resources. ROS documentation and YouTube. That's the good thing to learn about ROS.
Perfect. That I was going to ask you that. So my next question was exactly the same. That if somebody wants to start
Right.
learning ROS, what should they do? So I think yeah,
Mm,
even I suggest documentation, and I at least
right.
recommend finishing till the intermediate level so that
Exactly.
all the concepts are clear, and then watching YouTube videos deepen those
Hmm.
concepts, and then trying to do something on your Linux machine or WSL will make it even better. So absolutely agree with you, and thank you for sharing
Right.
that. Uh, Learning all of this on your own, what were the challenges that you faced and how did you solve it?
Yeah. So the major challenge was about the understanding part. There were actually two, three major challenges, but the first was about the understanding part. Like if we read the documentation at the first time, we will not be able to understand like what is really happening. They will give one command like to publish the node. We just put that out, but we are not able to understand what is really happening in the backend part.
Okay.
So that was one challenge. But the like how to tackle that. So if we practice one thing 2 to 3 times, 5 times, 10 times, we really understand that. It becomes we become used to it. So I think in that way, so I understood it through like practicing that thing. And the second part is about error. So the error handling part is worst in my learning journey. uh, I may be wrong at this particular point, but like if you want to save time, then you can join some communities or ask your professors, or else LinkedIn connections as well, or else your friends who are doing the same thing. For example, ROS. If someone is learning ROS, then try to learn within a group so that you will solve the errors quickly. If you
Yeah.
compare my journey, I was not like aware of the community part in the very beginning. So if I got some error, I used to solve it for 1 month, and one of the error in the gazebo, I solved it for 3 months. So that's how it goes. Yeah,
Okay.
but for 3 months, not investing like 2 hours daily, but 15 minutes daily, or sometimes I missed the consistency as well. But because you get really frustrated by the error part,
Yeah.
so if you have a community, then
Yeah.
it's a good chance to learn and grow quickly, and also you get to learn more things on the way. If we learn alone, that's good at some point, but getting a community is good. And the third point is about team building. In the ROS part, uh, as I mentioned previously, like by taking automation and robotics as a specialization, it was a risk for me. So in my like particular batch, there were limited students aware about the ROS, or else the software part in robotics. All wanted to go into the data analyst role, and all those things, particularly in IT side, or not specifically in robotics. So I was not having one team who can really work upon some minor projects and figure out the way like how to build the robot and all those things. So that were some challenges to me, but I tackled them by self learning, by being consistent at some level, because I missed the consistency at some time, because uh, I was figure outing like what I am really good at till my third year, because I tried out computer vision, machine learning, data analyst, and all those things. But that's the one thing. So also
Okay.
try to focus upon one thing at least in your third year, so it will save a lot of time. But taking experience is also not a bad thing.
Yeah. So the key thing I think would be to explore, try to find out your niche, and then specialize in it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. And what's next for you? What are you going to do now? What do you plan to do in the future?
Okay. So for now, like I am a robotic software engineer. So in the future, if I go into robotics, I will stick to the software side. And also simultaneously, I think there should be like no gap in learning and exploring as well. So I keep on learning new things, not only on the software part, but also on the non-technical side as well. So I don't know, but I like to work upon my skills where I am lacking behind. So that's one thing. And what I'm going to do in the future is like I can plan for masters, but for the exploration part, like I'm not sure. But what I'm doing is that I'm trying to find my natural skill, like what I'm really good at. So if I get that thing, then I will do masters. But there should be exploration part as well, and experiencing thing is one factor for the masters part. But if I don't do masters, I will keep with my job and also with the community stuff and keep on learning new things.
That's amazing. I wish you all the best for that, and
Yes.
keep up the good work. You're helping a lot. I watch your videos too. So
Okay.
keep doing it, and keep sharing your learnings on LinkedIn. And I genuinely wish you all the best, and thank you for your time today.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was my pleasure to join here, and I also learned a lot from you, from your
Yeah,
LinkedIn profile, and the like resources you share are really amazing. Like it reflects your experience, so
I'm
it is
glad.
really good for beginners. So
I'm
thank you
glad
so
to know
much.
that. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.